Hello. How are you?
Oh, I'm sinking into the chair.
I turned my head for a second and there was like, boom, a bunch of people chatting. That's fun. Let's see what he told me. Okay.
Hi,
So,
Jean.
hello, Gene. Marshmallow Man Lewis, thank you very much for stopping by. Scott is here. Fisherman 506. And that said, there's a lot more people in the chat, but they're just not chatting right now, and that's fine. So, how was Christmas?
Good, quiet, just the way we
Yeah.
like it.
It's it was a lot more quiet than what I'm used to for sure. 9:30 on the 24th, we were home.
Yeah.
That's really not like me anyway. I used to be out until like 3, 4 a.m. And I remember when I was a kid, I would sleep on my dad's, or just on a couch somewhere in a corner somewhere. I would fall asleep, and when it was time to leave, it would just wake us up and we'd leave. Now everything is different. I don't know why. The kids today, I tell you, they're not tough. They're not tough.
No, I mean we were lucky. We got that blizzard, but we didn't lose power, which is funny because we're prepared to lose power now, and we didn't
Yeah.
lose it. Which I mean I'm grateful for. But the funny thing is when we went out on the 26th and really got out, we actually didn't get a lot of snow here. Like we thought, like originally they were calling for like 50 to 60 centimeters and all this, and it looked like I mean it snowed for 3 days, and we're like we're gonna get buried, and we actually did not get a lot. It just was blowing so much, it looked like we were getting buried, and we were shocked when we went out and we saw how high the snowbanks were on like the 401 on the highway. They weren't high at all. Like they were maybe up to my knees. So we were like, wow, we actually didn't get a lot of snow. And now a lot of it, the last 2 days, is completely melted because we're back in April.
Yeah, we're supposed to get that kind of weather tomorrow, plus 8
It's
Celsius, which equals about what, 40 Fahrenheit, 30, 40
40,
Fahrenheit?
40 something. We got up to 12 Celsius today, and I think 10 or 11 Celsius yesterday, which is 50s for the Americans. And it just like literally, I just went out with a sweater on to the when we went out to run errands. I'm like, this is literally a week ago yesterday. Buffalo was getting buried, like it was a killer storm, and a week later, like what a difference a week makes.
Yep. So I'm gonna have Angie coming up later. She's gonna be late. Annie said that
Okay.
maybe she would join. Tracy's gonna be late. Scott didn't confirm if it was coming or not, but he said okay. So I don't know if it's okay, I'll try, or okay, I might make it, or uh, everything is up in the air. Um, so it's
Is
my
that
last live
Scott
stream
from
of
Rambling with
2020.
the Brums?
Yep,
Because I say he's in the
generational.
chat.
Yeah, he was there. Hello, hello.
Oh, hello.
It's nice. A lot of people came tonight. It's fun. Um, it's not the first time that I tell most of the people. The date is not set in stone. My girlfriend wanted me to make sure to tell you guys that the date is not set in stone because we never know what can happen. Um, but I officially asked my father-in-law to marry his daughter, and he said yes. And we've been engaged officially for the last 12 years. And so it was time for me to get things moving. But we have a date in 2025, so hopefully it'll give people time to organize and make the trip. Hello, Scott. How are you?
Good day.
Thanks,
I'm
Scott.
doing well.
Yeah.
How are you, Lynn?
Good. How's the puppy doing? Your baby.
I'm ready to kill him. He is wonderful, but yeah, with a cone on, just coming out of cancer surgery, then now, and trying to handle a puppy around her.
Oh, I
But
didn't realize I meant your puppy. You're the one that was sick. I didn't realize you actually had a puppy too.
oh yeah, so she's not eating. She's she's having a rough time. So
Yeah.
they said to give it till Monday, and then they'll have to put a intravenous in probably by then. Like we're having to force feed water into her right now, and
Oh,
yeah, she's not having fun.
just feels miserable. I sympathize. I know exactly how she's feeling, and I know she doesn't want to eat. So,
No, well, and they put her on like some pretty wicked antibiotics. Now,
oh yeah.
it looks really well. Like it looks good. It's healing up really well, but they put her on stronger antibiotics than they put on me on. Like it's crazy. But yeah.
I got.
Oh
I
yes.
don't know if you can see her.
Yep. Yep. Snuggled in the corner.
Oh yes, she is stuck to my side.
Well, that's it. I just put R2 down and I'm like, Remy's like, come on up. I'm like, yes, I need a beverage.
Well, we've been busy all day. As I was telling Remy, we've been busy all day. So I knew if I tried to sit where I normally sit for lives, she'll just drive me crazy. So I said, okay, we'll sit in the lazy boy and we'll get comfortable. And like I wasn't even sitting in the chair half a second. She jumped up.
Yep.
Generational homestead
Saying,
says
where
he
you
has
been all day, Mom?
Exactly.
I know.
3 in his bed.
3 in my bed. Oh God.
You have
Man.
one, and one's enough. She's a big baby. My daughter just goes in the shower and she's like depressed until she gets out. Like she'll
Oh my God.
yeah. Gray's dog. They said, yeah. I think it's Len's dog.
Yeah, exactly. It's her dog, but she doesn't feed it, walk it, pay for it. I have one of those daughters too. It's my dog. Great. Take it over.
Yeah. Pay for the vet bill.
Exactly. You can pay for the surgery it just had.
Good luck with that.
I know. But
So
anyways,
yeah. So did you have a nice Christmas regardless?
it was all right. It was all right. The kids got spoiled. Like it'll probably be the last year that everybody's together, so
Okay.
yeah.
You
So
try to enjoy it, but then again, there's always something going on. One has to leave, one goes to another party, and
oh, that's it. Like uh-oh. Look who you're putting beside me. He's gonna hurt me or kick me out. One of the two.
No, that was Nightbot. That was
Sure, it was Nightbot.
yeah. Keeps putting the blame on Nightbot. That Nightbot,
I know,
tell
eh?
you.
Poor Nightbot.
well, I know he's
What's going on, Tracy?
not a whole lot. I just got back from my mom was in. Well, she's being admitted for the weekend anyway.
No, no.
Yeah, she's got the flu and pneumonia.
Oh, best spot for her is in there.
Yeah. Her doctor had her on medication because he knew she had pneumonia starting up, and so he had her on medication. But then she's allergic to so many things in the pills themselves, the fillers and stuff, that her lips started tingling. So he told her just stop taking them, but he never started her on anything else.
Oh, jeez.
So she's been just laying there suffering.
Yeah, sometimes
Well,
there isn't much you can give her.
Yeah.
That's it. There is and this respiratory thing that's going around right now is just nasty.
Yeah. I told her she had the flu, but she didn't believe me.
There, that's better.
She says,
There.
I'm not sick in my stomach.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Lynn.
Hey, Friday night, and there's probably everybody in the free world and our out here is probably on that tower with us. So I had to hook up directly to the Wi-Fi, and it seems to be working better. So
Yeah.
Okay.
It looks well on my end.
it's
Yeah, it looks
terrible.
good here.
Yep.
Yeah, I couldn't hear anything anybody was saying. I heard something about antibiotics for the dog, and that was it. Hey, Mary Lynn.
Marilyn's here.
Hey,
You're gonna sit
So
with
you didn't leave yet to go see your parents
What's
tomorrow
that?
morning.
tomorrow morning?
Oh.
Okay. So it's what? It's 6 hours, 5 hours.
3 hours ride, 1 hour boat, and 1 hour drive.
Okay, so a total of 5 hours.
Hmm.
That's a long drive. Well, you spend a few days there with your parents, right?
2 days.
Okay. Well,
Coming back on
Celebrate.
January the 2nd.
we get to celebrate Christmas on New Year's, which is all right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Nothing
So
like
anyone
2
having
Christmases.
Sorry, what?
I said nothing like 2 Christmases.
Yeah.
Well,
What
it was
happened?
supposed to be on a straight line. We went to the in-laws on 23rd and came back home on 25th because we lost power for 2 days already, and yeah,
Wanted
tree
to take
falling
care of-
off, falling everywhere, and yeah, it was a stressful moment. So we were supposed to go to my parents at the 25th, but
Okay.
got delayed.
Well, you made a
Storm.
good call not traveling over the 25th.
oh,
Yeah,
I
that's
traveled. I traveled
obvious.
7 hours.
Hmm.
Traveled
Well, that
back.
was nice. Any plans for New Year's Eve?
Sleep.
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 Yeah.
I'm going
I'm
live.
gonna
It's
sleep.
Jesse and I's giveaway, New Year's giveaway. So Jesse and I will
Awesome.
be live over on his channel all evening tomorrow.
Okay, I'll see if I can make it. It should be around. I got invited over at a friend's, but when you have kids and family always comes first. We have Anthony's gone with his girlfriend for the week, and the oldest one is going out with their friends. They're all back from university for the holidays, and they're having a party. So it's kind of hard to tell her you can't go. Like, she needs someone to drive. So my girlfriend or I will be driving, and I don't like going to a party where everyone's drinking and you're the only one that's not drinking. So I might go say hi,
That's fun.
just say hello to everyone, but it probably won't stay too long. Plus, the middle one is babysitting, so
I think it's really fun. It's like being on a live where everybody's getting buzzed except for you. It's actually quite fun.
it happened last night.
Yeah.
You.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Uh-huh.
was drinking the hard stuff, and everybody else was drinking the good stuff.
Well, Darren started on my
Following
live.
you,
He
Tracy.
was well to do during my live in the afternoon. So
Always,
Yeah.
always.
I'll be back.
Colton again, probably. He's getting late. He's probably in bed. Well, it's getting late for a kid. I
Yeah.
mean, 3-year-old.
870. He might have snuck out and called Papa again.
Yeah, who knows?
But I think that's why David and I don't. One of the reasons we don't go out because we don't drink, and it doesn't bother us to be around other people who drink because majority of my family drinks, so it doesn't bother us. But a lot of people, it's funny how a lot of people get uncomfortable that we don't drink
really?
when they're all drinking. Yeah. You stop getting invited to things when people find out you're not drinkers.
Oh, I don't mind.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I will
I've never
say,
noticed that.
military culture, everything revolves around booze.
Yep.
And they wonder why there's such a problem with alcohol, addiction and issues, and everything revolves around booze when you're in the. It's a lot. So we just tend not to go to. I mean, it doesn't bother. Like I said, it doesn't bother us. People drink. I don't care if you drink. It doesn't bother me. It's just for personal reasons that we have. One, some of my medications I'm on, I can't drink with them.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but we just stay home. New Year's Eve, we usually do board games with the kids. We'll have big board game night. Instead of having homemade pizza tonight, we're going to have that for New Year's Eve tomorrow night. So I'm making homemade pizza, and we do a couple fun snacks and everything. And we might see the new year come in. We might not.
Yeah, I think I was sleeping for the last like 5-6 years.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you have young kids. I'm up early and
Yep.
I don't know. Maybe tomorrow I will not sleep. It will arrive 1 hour earlier. So
Oh, there you go. So you'll be awake for it.
maybe.
yeah, true, because you'll be an hour late here in New Brunswick.
If I can get a small nap tomorrow, I might make it.
Well, that's it. Jesse said to me today, he's like, well, I'm thinking that we'll give our last giveaway after midnight. I'm like, I don't know if I can stay up that late.
You'll have to switch
So,
to the alcohol for coffee.
yeah, I will be drinking coffee.
Just want to say hello to everyone that just came in. I don't want to forget anyone. I've seen. Okay, am I going too high? Just a sec. Amanda's here. Tammy's here. Rebel Canners, thank you very much. Higgy Homestead, Pathways Homestead, Coastal Water. Thank you very much for dropping by, guys. I'll put the link here if anyone wants to. I'll say something similar to what Darren said yesterday. I need to at least know who you are. And I need to see your face before you come up. But the link is there if you want to come say hi.
Generational Homestead, yes. I mean, we're not up quite that early, but we're still up early. So 9 o'clock, by the time 9 o'clock rolls around, we've already been up, 16, 17 hours or more. So we're tired.
Hello.
Oh, and Remy, it's not Higgy, it's Huga Homestead.
Huga? Okay, sorry. Yeah. Huga.
No, I finally got it right, so I let the other people know because I was always calling them by the wrong name too.
I heard Darren say that the other day.
I only know it's Huga because there's a yarn that's that name, and that's how it's pronounced. That's the only reason I know that it's Huga.
Well, I know I agree with them. Leave the New Year's Eve stuff to the young. Well, these are young folks.
But we're not single.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I'm single, but I'm old.
You're not old.
Look who we got.
Oh, there's Angie.
Happy
birthday, Angie.
Thank you.
Birthday girl.
Thank you.
You don't look a day over 22.
Nivea cream. Thank you. That's a compliment.
True. Coffee walks and whatever. Thank you very much for stopping by. I usually have to wake him up to tell him it's midnight. I get that because, yeah, I usually sleep around midnight.
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Huga means cozy. That's why you're.
Yep.
Huga. Okay.
Yep.
Huga.
Exactly.
Hi, Jane.
Yeah, that was I'm glad I took that call. That was the hospital calling me, asking me about my mom's medications, and I'm like, well, is she awake? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, well, she can tell you this stuff better than I can. but I think it's because they came in and they handed me the paperwork to sign her in to stay overnight, and I'm her power of attorney. So I think they naturally thought that maybe she was not able to speak for herself. I don't know.
So yeah.
Yeah, sometimes that's what happens.
My grandmother's 93, almost 94, and if anyone tried to speak for her, she'd let you know.
Same with
Good for
mine.
her.
Sometimes though, Tracy, it might just be like a double check. Maybe they spoke to
Yeah.
your mom, and maybe
Yeah.
they just want to double check to confirm with you. She might have said something like, "Hey, I'm taking, for example, morphine," and they talk to you, and no, my mom's never taken morphine before. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a way of double
Yeah.
checking, I guess.
Well,
Better be safe than sorry.
yeah,
She wanted to
it makes
party
me
before.
nervous because they asked me, they said, okay, she's allergic to aspirin, right? And I'm like, I don't know. You'll have to ask her about that. But I do know that there was aspirin and there was something else that they had her allergic to that she's not allergic to. But it totally changed the diet that they gave her.
Oh no.
And I'm like, wait a minute, no, she can have that. Oh my gosh, we eat shrimp. I think it was shellfish or something. I'm like, no, she can eat lobster if you bring her lobster. I know.
Man, your hospitals are a lot nicer than ours.
Well,
If you're
no, they
getting
don't
the
bring her
lobster.
They don't bring the lobster, but yeah, Lewis County Hospitals, it's a pretty decent hospital. They got rid of most of their specialties. But it's
It's a video will be out tomorrow. We are going to be building the upstairs walls in the next week. So we threw out everything in sidewalk chalk, and that video will be posted tomorrow, so you can see the plans. And with all the nice weather, we're gonna try to hustle while we're off.
Do you have stairs to go up now?
Sorry?
Do you have stairs to go up, or you have to climb
No.
again?
We have a ladder to go upstairs right now. Nothing other than the floor is done on the main floor.
Okay.
Upstairs though, we need to get the roof some support for snow load and stuff. So we wanted to build walls, get that done, and still looking for front windows. So
I'm still surprised that Mike didn't just put like a pole to get down on from when he's upstairs.
fireman pole, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you guys, Angie, have you checked with what is it, Valley Window and Doors in Eganville?
I'd have to
For
ask
seconds?
Mike. I gave him the number, so I'll ask him.
Ask Mike if he's seen or if he's talked to them, because sometimes they get windows that just don't fit.
Mhm.
That you guys would be able to alter your size of your window,
Right.
to barely pay anything for a window. Or Shields here in town in Arnprior, they always have second windows.
Okay, I will tell him, because I know we're looking. We have all the windows upstairs are installed.
Okay.
The main floor, we need 2 in the front, and then we need a patio door in the back. So that's going to be next. That'll be purchased sometime in January. But I'm still holding out to find a deal on some new windows. So the trouble is, like, I found lots of white, but I want black windows in the front. So
Oh yeah,
okay.
black's real popular right now, so they're charging more for them because they're so popular.
they are. I could pick up 2 windows that are white for probably like $500 for the size that I want for both. But there was somebody selling them locally. It didn't fit their place, and I think it was like $800 for one they were asking, and I'm like, I could go to Home Depot and buy one brand new the same size for $500. So
With a warranty.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. But the front,
it's because they're black and they're popular. I know we had 5 houses built out near us this last year. Every one of them put black windows in.
Really?
Yep. And I like it. I like the look of it. And we looked at it when we put new windows in 5 years ago, but they wanted the price, like put the price up because we were doing the whole house. Plus we needed new doors. And the price was like, they added so much on. I said, the heck with it. We'll stick with white. So and now they're even more popular. So it's like black fixtures. We've been trying to get a black shower head and black fixtures for our bathroom. And because they're so popular right now, they're so much more expensive than like the chromes or the nickel or.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And I intended on painting them, like getting white ones and painting them, because you can do it. But through the process, I've learned, which I guess technically I could do this for the front windows, because we're going to, from the roof at the front of the cabin, we're putting another porch roof. And so as long as they don't get direct sun constantly, it'll be okay. But if you have a black window or a white window that you painted black, they use more, I don't know if it's aluminum or whatever they use, but they use, say, 2 layers for white, 3 layers for black, because the sun will warp them. And so they use a different material or something. So you can do it, but they can't get direct sunlight constantly. So if I have to suffer and go with the white ones, then that's what I'll do. Because we are going to have the front porch, but I would also I'm like, we're only building once. So even if we have to wait 2 months, 3 months, a year, hopefully not. Our deadline goal to have the house done is the beginning of August, because that'll be our 2-year mark. So they're going to come before then.
No, I see what you mean. Like, especially you want what you want. Like this, know, this is it for you guys. So, I will say I'm glad we didn't go black, because now that we have the new siding and roof done this summer, I wouldn't have been able to choose the colors I did, and I'm so happy with the way it turned out. So I'm glad we went with the white. And I was going to paint them, but they told me it would void the warranty if I touched them.
Yep.
So I'm like, okay, we will leave them alone.
Yep.
Yep.
But the house does look beautiful, Angie. Next time we go, it's going to be a whole different thing than what it was last time.
Yeah, I think for to move into, the goal, is August. For people to come and sleep, it has to be closed in. And so the windows I want done before May.
So you're telling me that the windows you guys bought last year are not on the house, or are you talking about windows?
The problem is
that was my.
We bought windows. So we bought 4 feet tall windows. And I think they were 4 feet wide as well. And we discovered after we got home that when the guys were putting the logs on the cap, or like building the logs in the rows above where the dining room window is going to go, it's not a solid log. And so we would have to structurally, they put 2 logs together. So we discovered after we purchased the windows that we can do something, but I was like, no, I don't want to. We have to have at least 1 log underneath that, the 2 logs that aren't connected. We have to have 1 solid log. So now we have to go. We can go 4 feet high, but there's a big whole process. So my goal is to do 3 feet high, 5 feet wide.
So that was my only contribution to your house, and now it's gone. So I'll have to go again. I actually helped take the windows from the truck to the side of the house. All that for nothing.
Well, no, we profited off the windows.
Oh, there you go.
I think we got. Yeah, I think it was. I think we paid 4 for them because they were through a friend. We offered them back. They said, nope, go ahead, sell them. And then we sold them 2 for $500. So
now that's a double insult, Remy. They've made money off your back too.
Slave labor.
Well, it's okay. I agreed to even go there and cut down a tree, but then I realized that they already cut the one I wanted. It was a nice small tree, and it would have been easy, but
there were lots of runner-ups.
Man, Remy, come by here. Come by here in May. We've got several that need to be taken down. Mother Nature didn't touch them.
I don't know if they'd let me bring my chainsaw across the border, would they?
Not sure. Not sure.
When we crossed the border, I think I've said this story, but I don't know if I've told Tracy. Mike, for his 40th birthday, which was many moons ago, his mom had bought him a crossbow. And so I knew that we had spent more than the limit. So I think it's like $750 you're allowed each Canadian to spend if you are there for
48 hours.
Yeah. And so I knew we were over that. So we get to the border. The guy's like, how much do you have to declare? And Mike said like 1,500. Okay, have a good day. And I'm like, but we have a crossbow. And because Mike wanted to hunt with it in the States too.
Angie?
No, because they have to put a tag on the crossbow so that they know you've already done, the taxes and stuff. It's legal to import them as long as it's a legal one that's here. So we knew everything was good. But so anyways, he looks at me and he like was so disgusted with me. And he's like, does it shoot bullets? And I said, no, arrows. He goes, like I said, have a good day.
Yeah.
I've got relatives who were custom agents, so
there was a guy from Florida, and Florida is basically buy it and take it home pistol state. But you do have to get go through a class or something like that to get, and he was driving through Maryland. And it showed up, they got pulled over and it showed up on the police officer's thing that he had a gun in Florida. And so they get the guy out of the car and they ask him, they say, where's your pistol? And he said, at home, locked up. And he says, okay, wait here. Walks around, talks to the wife, asks the wife, and he's like, where's his pistol? She goes, I don't know, maybe in the glove box. She didn't know. She had no idea. They tore that whole car apart.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, it is so horrible.
Yeah, Mike used to be one of those TSA guys too. He's got stories.
Yeah, David, part of his job in the military, part of their trade is customs. So he worked and the stuff that people would try to get away with.
Yeah.
And David, especially the illegal like ivory and things like that when they were coming back from over. And David's like, you can't have it. I spent $3,000 on this. What was it? That table or something that guy bought all that furniture, and it was made with.
No, the furniture came in all molded.
Oh, the furniture came in all molded.
Oh no!
So it had to get burned.
Oh no! Did you guys ever hear the joke about the couple that gets arrested by the cops, and then like the police officer arrives at the car and is like, "Sir, do you know why I'm stopping you?" He's like, "Well, not really." And the wife is like, "Of course you know why he stopped you. You were going like 25 kilometers per hour over the speed limit."
That's me.
Look at her and he's like, "Shut up, you." No, like I'm not gonna say the word, but. And then the cop's like, well, okay, that's not very nice, but like, did you also know that I saw you didn't have your seatbelt on? He's like, of course I did. And the wife's like, no, you did not. Stop lying. And then he gets really angry at the wife. He's like, like like, stop talking. The police officer looks at her and is like, does he always talk to you like that? She's like, no, sir, only when he's drunk.
That's funny.
See, when it comes to the border, I've always said to Mike, the whole because I knew he was going to cross back and forth with it. So if they wanted to, they can ding him each and every time, but he was supposed to get a tag put on it, which he never did anyways. But I've always said, because we're, a 2-country family, I never want to mess with the border.
Yeah, right? Same and here. So, yeah.
Yep. So it's
Good day, Grubby.
Hey.
Yeah, we're the same way. I never want to. We always tell the truth. I mean, but honestly, when we go through, they are more interested. Do you have booze? And do you have cigarettes? And do you have weapons? Once we say no to all that, they don't care that we have groceries. Yeah. Or whatever. We went over back to school clothes. That's the main thing, and we don't have that. So
if they ask me if I have weapons, the answer is not my whole body's a weapon.
No.
Yeah.
When we moved back to Canada, so it's a lot different. To move to the States, it takes, like, it's going to take me years if I ever wanted to go back and live there because I'm Canadian. But when we moved to Canada, all this immigration stuff was new to me. And so when we left Michigan to come back to Canada, I had all my like I's dotted, T's crossed, everything. I drove the van, Mike drove the U-Haul. He gets to the border first. Don't they give him like such a runaround? And they're like, you can't just come to the border and move to Canada. And Mike never told him he was married to a Canadian. So then I show up and they're like, okay, what are you here for? All this other stuff. They bring me inside and the guy starts talking to me, the agent, and he figures out, okay, he sees my stuff. He sees I'm Canadian. And then he looks at Mike. He goes, is this your wife? And the agent was like, or Mike was like, yeah. And he's like, why didn't you say so? Okay, here's your year pass. Here's your this. And they just like let him in. But to go to the States, now it's different though. Now I'm more afraid of Canada, like anxiety wise, than I am going to the States. Because now they just like have a good time.
David laughs at me because I always have an anxiety attack going across and we're not doing anything wrong.
I know. I'm the same way.
I always get nervous. I don't know why. And I will say, and they have no sense of humor. Like these people who try to joke with them or whatever, don't do that with the custom officials. They don't have a sense of humor. Do not joke with them at all.
And Mike,
so the only time I've had an issue crossing the border is back into my own country.
Yep,
I had a lady that she could not speak English, and I don't mean that she could speak French. She could barely speak English, and she would not let me back into my country whenever I was driving transport.
Oh, wow.
She hauled me in and questioned if I was a Canadian.
Did you sing the anthem?
No, I just about got thrown in jail that night.
Yeah. See, I'm not worried about getting into Canada because, well, Canadians, I watch Canadian bacon. They've got to be some of the most politest people I've ever seen in my life. But getting back into the States, I'm worried about that because New York State in particular, you can call me a redneck, and New York doesn't like rednecks. If you don't live in the city, you don't matter to them.
Where will you cross, Tracy, when you come over?
Probably Alex Bay.
A Bay.
Okay.
Alexandria Bay.
Yeah.
Gananoque Way.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. They're actually not bad there.
No.
We've crossed around that area a couple, and they're not too bad. Honestly, if you just don't lie, you tell them the truth, and
I cross the border at least twice a month. And because I have a YouTube, I have I have an address in the US and I have one here. And I go across at least twice a month. Like I'm getting to know the customs agents.
Yeah.
I actually know one of the custom agents married a girl from town here, and I know his mother and father-in-law. So, I didn't even know that he was a customs agent until probably the fourth time ago I crossed. And he's like, "Oh, you're from Brayside." And I didn't tell him I was from Brayside. So I'm like, I looked at him and I'm like, "You're knowing more, you know more than what you're letting on." He laughed and he's like, "My wife's from Arnprior." I'm like, okay, so yeah, I know his father-in-law and his mother-in-law, and it's hilarious. But I got to say, crossing at Ogdensburg, great folks, both sides, U.S. and Canada.
I grew up on a border town. I have uncles that were border agents. All my teachers on summer break, they were all customs officials. So when Dave and I have been together, since beginning of time. When we were dating in high school, he'd go back and forth all the time because he was coming over to get me or whatever. And they look in there, "Oh, you're going to get Lynn, are you?" Because it would either be my uncles, a teacher I had in school, a good friend of my father's. Like it was, but now we go home and we don't know anybody anymore. They're
Yeah.
all from like California. They're all from New York. They're all, you don't know.
Oh, so you're originally from upstate New York?
No, I'm from Maine.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. not that there's anything wrong with New York, but no, I'm from Maine. And
Okay.
they've all moved down to that border. They opened a third border between New Brunswick and Maine where I grew up. And they had to hire more people. And we don't know any of them anymore because like everyone I know is retired, my uncles and my teachers and stuff. And my dad said, he goes, I don't even know who they are anymore, Lynn, because they're, they're all from, and we never thought of it as a big deal growing up, the border, because my father's Canadian, even though he's American. My grandmother's Canadian. Half our relatives were on the Canadian. We never thought of it as anything. So these people who moved there from California, they see it so different than what we saw. It's not that big a deal. Like, my aunt lived in St. Stephen, but she worked over in Calais, Maine for her job because she was American. So her job was in the States, but she married a Canadian and moved to Canada. So the only time they ever gave me a hard time is when they asked me where we're from, and we would say, and then they look at me and because I would say I'm dual, I'm both. And they told me I wasn't allowed to say that anymore. I either have to say one or the other.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
that's what Mike go for. He's going to go for citizenship here.
I mean, I'm a Canadian. I just thought I had to tell the border, I'm both. And they're like, nope, you either tell us one or the other, or,
When you're trying to get into Canada, into Canada. When you're trying to get into Canada, you say Canadian. When you're trying to get into the States, you say American.
Nope, I have to say Canadian completely.
Oh,
why?
You're no longer.
She'll learn. She'll learn what the jail's like if she does that.
Nope, really? I have to say one. Well, I mean, when we were first married, we didn't have to have passports. You didn't have to have passports back and forth between Canada and the States. Now my passport's Canadian, so I definitely couldn't say I'm American because my passport's Canadian. But I mean, I'm a Canadian citizen. I'm still an American citizen. I didn't give up my citizenship or anything.
And
my kids can go for dual if they want. So
you should get them.
I don't think they will.
Well, you know what though, Lynn? You should get them to do it before something big happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or if they want to go to school, or you know what I mean? That's the one thing. Our situation's a little different, but I wish that, because I got my permanent resident status in the US, but I got because you have to get conditional permanent residency. So it's 2 years and then you can do permanent resident. You could do 3 years from your initial time, then you can go for citizenship. And I never got it. Now, if I want to go back to live, I think if I'm in the country, which would mean I'd have to go for a visit. This is what a lawyer told me. I'd have to go for a visit and then apply once I'm there, which I don't want to do. It would take a couple of years. If I'm within Canada, it could take 3 to 5 years. And I'm like, nobody knows, like if we applied for it today, what if I don't want to move in 5 years and then I've wasted all that money?
Yeah. I know.
Be smart.
So people always say, why don't you move back to the States? Well, David's not an American citizen, for one. So we'd have to get all that. I mean, I still have my social security card number. Like I still have that. I could, because that didn't, everyone always they think you had to, no, I didn't have to choose. They didn't say, oh, you have to choose if you want to become Canadian. Canada, they didn't even ask me. The only thing they asked me, because I was born in Germany, because my father was military.
Oh, dear God.
I know. You want to talk about.
You're 157.
Oh, you want to know that I have no rights to Germany? None, because I was born on an American base. It's American soil. My birth certificate says born abroad. I was not born, my parents had friends who had children who were born in the German hospital because of complications or whatever. They had to send them off base to go in town. They had rights to Germany because they were literally born, and they actually got draft notices when they turned 18 from Germany because they were born. But I have no rights. But Canada made me fill out a thing saying that I wouldn't go for any rights to Germany or something. And my father always was mad about that because he said, hey, you have no rights anyway. He says, and what the hell does Canada care if you have rights to Germany?
Exactly.
Germany, they can't even collect sticks off the ground to heat their house with, because
Yeah.
but if you want to come and be able to live forever in the United States, collect a bunch of money and probably get a good job and housing for free and all that good stuff, get on a plane in Canada, fly to Mexico, get off in like I don't know, Tijuana, walk across the Rio Grande River, and you'll definitely come out of it with like a $500 or $600 cell phone.
True story.
Support.
It is though. It
And
is.
then
I mean, it's
they'll
horrible
give
there
you a
right
court
now.
date. They'll give you a court date. Just don't show up. They'll never find you, and they
You
won't
know
even
what?
bother looking.
The whole reason we came back to Canada was because I was a permanent resident, and we had one string of bad luck after another, and we were going to lose the house. We lost everything in the 2008 recession. So we lost everything. We signed the house over, and if we had gone for help, we would have owed every single penny back. So Mike was offered a job here with family, and that's what brought us back to Canada. But yeah, it's I was gonna say our youngest of the family, Autumn, she was she's not by birth, she's not my daughter, but she's my daughter. But she was born in Okinawa, Japan. She lived with us in Canada and got her citizen or her permanent residency here, but she's American, but she's born in Japan. I did all the paperwork for that, and it was a nightmare.
It was a nightmare.
It
was a nightmare for me too.
So
I can only imagine.
Yeah, it's not fun for her.
I look at it.
We went through a lot. We went through a lot and a lot of postponements. And then one day I happened to call to get my status. I'm like, what is going on? Like, this is crazy. And they said, hold on. So they put this person on. They said, do you have a copy of your father's birth certificate? Because my dad is Canadian.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, yeah, I do. They said, can you fax that to us? I said, sure. So I faxed it to them. They said, okay, you'll hear from us in, whatever. So we went on vacation, came back. There was a letter in the mail. I opened it up, my Canadian citizenship card.
Jeez.
All we went through with these idiots talking about your German, this and this. They said, all you needed was your father's Canadian. He said, you're coming over on your father's citizenship. You have rights to Canada because your father's Canadian. Boom, bam, boom, I had it. I said, are you kidding me?
I look at Canada Canada and the United States are really a lot like that. We are the two of the freest countries in the world that are in desperate, dire straits, getting ready to lose our free. Our government is trying to take all our freedoms. We're all in the same boat.
Yep.
We talked about moving to Scotland too. I just saw that.
Ireland.
Yeah, because my Nana came over when she was 15. So I can do the ancestry. So if you have a grandparent or a parent that was born in like England, Scotland, Ireland, you can get the ancestry permanent residency, I guess. Like that would be a dream, but
I didn't know that David's grandfather came over here when he was 20 something, huh? Your grandfather? Betteridge? From England. Like he was in the English Air Force.
Especially if there's military there too. Then there's something that you can do as well. If they served, then you can get some kind of, I don't know if it's still ancestral, but
my great grandparents came from Ireland and Scotland, but they're like not my grandmother, but her parents who came over from Ireland. But that's crazy that like we have our neighbors are English, and she was a not a mortician, but she did the embalming. She was an embalmer in England.
Nice.
And she did that for like, oh my gosh, I think Kelly did that for like 10 years. And they wanted to come to Canada. She did have some family here, and they visited when she was younger, and they loved it. And things weren't looking so great in England a few years ago. Still not looking so great, but they said enough. They had enough. So they moved here, and I can't get over everything they've had to go through. And I said, I thought Canada and England were like, you can come here, or we can go there. She goes, oh, you can come here. She goes, you can go to England. Canadians can go to England like that.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
said, and no problem, but I could not get it. The best thing that could have happened to them was the pandemic. Because of the pandemic, they were all able to get their permanent residency a year and a half early.
Oh, wow.
So now they're Canadians.
We should all just go to England and dominate England.
Yeah.
I
I'm
can't
telling you, they
afford
love
$10 a
Canada.
liter for gas
Yeah.
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 and
England's not the same
700,000
place
for
it
like a
used
2-bedroom apartment.
Right.
I don't know how like these folks can live in England. My God.
They couldn't. That's one of the reasons Kelly, that and the education system. Her daughters were, one was just starting high school, one was in junior high, and she said the education system was getting so bad that they didn't want to stay there for that anymore either. And I mean, I'm telling you, they love Canada. They still love the cold. They've been here 4 years now, and they still think the winter's cool.
They must have slipped on the ice and hit their heads.
So nice people, very nice people. They're great neighbors. And yeah, but I was just shocked. I thought, and in order for Chris to come, he had to come as a student. So he came as a student and was able to bring Kelly and the girls with him under that. But because he was from the United Kingdom, normally it was $4,000 a year to go to the college that's here. They charged him $24,000.
Yeah.
Woohoo. I just got notification from Mike. He made it into Michigan.
Oh, good.
Awesome.
So he's across.
But I mean, I understand charging somebody more that maybe isn't from here, but 20,000 more a
That's
year?
that's why they're setting aside so many international spots in these programs in Canada. They're turning away the Canadians for college to let in the international people that they're charging 10 times the price.
The United States is the same way.
Yeah.
The amount of foreigners that are in our doctors that get their degrees and stuff because it was made so easy for them. Unfortunately, we have a lot of people who would love to have been doctors that never got that chance just because they were
afford it.
Because we're all privileged,
Well, Remy, are you guys seeing down at the hospital the international people that are coming over that are supposedly like doctors from other countries coming here? We're starting to see that around Ontario now. And I tell you what, some of these people scare me. Like they're supposed to be full-fledged doctors, and our doctors here are refusing to work with them.
Oh yeah. I don't deal with doctors much, so I can't really say much. And working at a hospital, there's only so much I can say. But I know a lot of doctors that are coming from other countries, and I know there are some things that are different from there to here, so it is causing some issues.
Oh yeah. Oh, Marilyn.
Oh,
Marilyn left.
I'll tell you, I don't mind because I know, like they were saying, especially with the problem with not having enough, if they have some kind of test, some tests that you all have to take, right? You pass it, okay, then you can practice medicine here in Canada. I don't have a problem with that because we need doctors. I also think if they would set up a program, a lot of people are smart enough to be doctors and nurses. They absolutely are, but they don't want to come out of these places in hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, which I can't blame them. So I think they should say, look, if you agree to stay in school, do well, graduate, become a doctor or a nurse, you give us 10 years in wherever you're at, the province you're at, we will fit the bill as long as you pass everything and do well. I think you'd find more people be like, geez, I can be a doctor.
My daughter-in-law is, she just graduated nursing school in the summer. And there's a lot of places that offer upfront like cash bonuses, but you have to stay with them for so long. And then if you go to rural parts of Ontario, I don't know about other provinces, they'll give you Yeah, they give you, I can't remember what the lady told me. It was like $5,000 off your student debt a year plus a sign-on bonus.
Okay.
Yeah.
The
So
new nurses are getting $20,000,
Mhm.
Wow.
but yet doctors aren't.
To be
And
a
I'm part of the
PSW,
physician recruitment here for our hospital. And that's what we're saying. How come nurses? So everybody that I went to high school with are three of them are in Texas, one's in Florida.
Yeah.
They're all over the US because of the money.
Yep.
yep, I've heard that too.
Like,
Yep.
It was
you know,
like the same situation back many moons ago in Ontario when Mike Harris was
Yep.
the premier. Lots of nurses went to the States because why not?
yep.
Yep.
And I don't blame them because at the end of the day, they have to look after theirs too, right?
Yep.
So one of our specialists, his sister, which I dated in high school, she's in Texas right now.
Mhm.
And to move to Texas, they paid off her debt. And
Yep.
she's got her master's of nursing now running their hospital.
Wow.
And, you know, it's like, are you kidding me? Like, you know, I don't begrudge a thing for her. You know,
Right.
free health care. Her husband's got a very very good job. They're pretty close to the Mexican border. Like they're loving life.
Yeah.
And they come back at least once a year. Her kids, know her parents and her brother, and they're still healthy enough. They travel back and forth, but she's making a mint.
Mhm.
My cousin's a nurse in Florida and she's in the ICU. And what's different there too is when you go into those specialties as a nurse, you make more money. I have
Oh,
a
yeah.
friend who's a nurse here and she said it doesn't matter where they put you in the hospital and how much classes she says, I take every class offered to me out of my own pocket, everything to better myself so I can help my patients, but it doesn't mean anything at the end of the day in a paycheck.
Right.
And that kind of stinks.
I see more and more of what Angie was talking about here in New Brunswick, where they offer to pay your course. They actually give you some money. PSW, they're giving you, I think it's a 3 month course. They're giving you $10,000 cash. They're
Yep.
paying everything you need in the course, and all you have to do is stick with them with the network for probably 5 years, I'm guessing.
That's
Yeah.
what we are. It's 5 years.
I actually
Okay.
thought about it because $10,000 for 3 months, that's more than money that I'm making now.
We
The
had
only
something
thing is
similar
it's
also
helping
in
me.
Quebec, just
Yeah.
like in the first years of the pandemic. We were lacking, it's not nurse, it's the people that takes care of the elderly.
PSW.
PSWs.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there's a name
Yeah.
here in French. I don't know in English. So they were paying for the entire course, but there were rules and regulations. If you didn't follow the entire course, you quit. You didn't do all the rules. You had to reimburse the entire course.
Yeah.
And it guaranteed you that if you graduated, you would have been you wouldn't be without a job. Like if you go through the entire program, at the end of the program, you were positioned somewhere. So it was a guaranteed paid education, guaranteed paying job. You just probably
Happy New Year,
couldn't.
Jean.
New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy
You
New
probably just
Happy
couldn't
New Year.
pick the area because there was so much lacking
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know if
You see-
it's probably the same now, 2 years.
Here
but
they have to pay for their own education, but they get reimbursed when they pass.
I think that's more
Okay.
logical.
Yeah.
Yep. Because then you are
Because-
more incentive. Because what if you drop out and you say, I'm not going to do this, and they say, well, you owe us money. I don't have it.
Yeah.
You can't give blood from a stone.
And that's what the military's doing. That's what the military's doing with my son. Is he gets I think it's $2,000 a semester. But because he's stuck with the reserves.
Is he at the military college or?
No, he's actually at Algonquin taking police foundations,
Mike's
and
in Algonquin too.
he's going to be MP.
Nice.
Okay. Yep.
I was gonna say
I know
for Tracy.
this is a touchy subject with my husband because they're giving like sign-in bonuses to all these officers and stuff, and they're not giving any to the NCMs and all that, and they're wondering why they're leaving in droves. Like the CO was
So-
practically on his knees begging my husband not to retire last year, like practically on his knees. What can we do to keep you? What can we do to keep you? And,
Well, let me list the ways.
Yeah.
You know, I have a
So-
friend in New Brunswick. You can pay off his mortgage or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, from the top of my head like that.
So
Wouldn't that be
it's
fun?
unfortunate that, all healthcare is not being treated the same. My wife is an X-ray technologist. Well, they're front line. Like they dealt with, the majority of the pandemic. Few inches away as they intubated these very sick people. They
Yeah.
didn't even get a thank you.
Yeah.
But yet the nurses that were standing behind them and who were working from home got big bonuses, and Debbie and them at the hospital on the front line never got a penny.
We're paying
I'll tell you,
big
the
time
problem
now.
that is, Scott. Yeah, the problem is people think frontline workers are just nurses and doctors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't think about it's more.
Actually, it's
just
everyone.
New York made the poke mandatory for healthcare workers.
Oh, same
Here
here.
too.
They did here
And-
too. They did here too.
We lost nurses, we lost doctors that just said,
Yep.
listen, guys, the science is not there. These are, I'm not going to get into that. I don't want to
No.
get Remy demonetized. But
Nope.
but now you think those people they've gone out, they've worked really hard, and they've found new careers or new lines of work. A lot of them became like home health aides and stuff, and they're making some really good money.
Yep.
And the hospitals are like, oh, come back. You don't have to do this now. And they're like, no, why would I do that?
Usually you
Ontario's doing
don't
the same thing right now.
you
They're
don't
trying to
fight the
invite all
hand that
these people
feeds
back.
you.
Yeah.
So I don't expect them. Well, I want them to come back because now at the hospital there's like over 30 hours of wait here in Quebec.
Yep.
Wow.
Here too in our part of Ontario. It's
But I
awful.
don't blame them. I don't blame them for
Nope.
not
Yeah.
I
coming
tell
back.
them to kiss my butt.
See,
I will say. Sorry, go ahead, Tracy.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. I took my mom to the emergency room. It was, I want to say 11:30, maybe somewhere in there, and she had a hard time getting into the emergency room as far as walking. So I sat her down, and a nurse came up and said, "Hey, you need a wheelchair?" I said, "Yes." They took her right into the in processing where they take temperature and stuff like that. I signed mom in, and they took me back to the emergency room to her room that she was in the emergency room. And then it was 5:30, 6 o'clock. And the nurse came in and said, "Mr. Hand, it's going to be a while before she gets moved up to the floor where she's going to be staying for the weekend. You might as well go home instead of sitting here." And mom could tell I was tired. I hate hospitals.
Yeah.
No offense to everybody,
I don't think there's many people that enjoy.
I hate them. I hate
Well, I
them.
was gonna say.
I worked
like,
there and I hate it.
Yeah, I was gonna say when I crushed my hand, I had to go to the ER twice, and small town ER. I don't know if it's like this everywhere, but it's my experience because I came from Durham region, which is close to Toronto. You're always waiting 8 hours, 6 hours, 12 hours. You're always in the waiting room for that long.
wow.
But when I went there, I was seen, x-rayed, and gone within 2. Both times.
Excellent.
And then I had to visit Bancroft Hospital, which it's a no-go. Like I choose a town called Renfrew over Bancroft. Mind you, I also found out much later that my hand was messed up initially and I never got the proper care. So I don't know. I had to wait 2 hours. I got in and out within 2 hours, but
you didn't get good care.
They were really lovely to me the first time. The second time, they're like, "What do you want us to do? There's nothing broken on the X-ray." And I'm like, "Well, it's not the bone I'm really worried about, but but then
I don't get it. When my husband got hurt with his knee was like almost 2 times the size of a regular knee,
Wow.
the around there was so
Really?
much swelling.
Yeah.
So he went to the clinic. He waited a couple of hours, and then the clinic said to him, "Your the whole circumference of your knee is way too swollen for us to give you a proper
Yes.
diagnostic.
Right.
Is it broken? Is it torn? Do you need anything? So you need to go back home." And they told him what to do for the swollen to, dissipate and to come like at a normal size or a little bit like swollen down, and then they can take x-rays. But even though when he went back and he was like 3/4 of the way like down, they told him that the accuracy of the results were not 100% because there was still so much things swollen around the knee. So he would have to do another one after all the medication, which is, well, I know a finger is smaller, but wouldn't it be the same thing?
Yeah. Well, yes. To that comment, I'm going to say you get what you pay for.
Well, we don't pay in Quebec. We don't pay. It's free.
No, it's not free here either. I know they're joking, but this really bugs David. Our healthcare is not free. We pay a lot for our healthcare.
I'm going to say it's free. Okay, because when I go and I walk in a clinic, I don't have to pay for anything.
Right.
But I am sure that at the end of the year when I do my taxes, some of my taxes pay for it. But I am grateful that I don't have to pay thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars just to walk in a clinic.
Yeah.
I mean, when I had cancer, just one of my drugs, the first time, just one of them was $10,000.
Yeah.
Just one of them. And I was getting 3 to 4 every time I went. So I can't imagine.
I wish there was like a happy medium, because I've experienced, I'm sure you have too, I've experienced both systems, and I see flaws in both. So I will say that when I lived in Michigan, I was shocked. I had to have surgery once, and I was like, I come out and I was doted on, I was taken care of, I had heated blankets. Like, I was just amazed at the healthcare. And then my son got pneumonia when he was there. And just the level, like, I remember when I took my son to the hospital in Canada, and it was almost like, are you sure he should be here? And then when I went to the hospital for the same both breathing issues, when I went to the hospital in the States, and this is in Michigan, it was, like right away that he was seen, he had breathalyzer, he was put in a room, they were like, giving him toys. It was just a completely different atmosphere than what I was used to. And I remember feeling shocked. And it's not about the toys and the heated blankets, but the level of care that I got, even to the doctor. So Mike's insurance, thankfully, was good, and we had a $20 copay. But our prescriptions were much cheaper than they are here. They were like $4 pretty much for everything. Now, that was with his insurance. He had hospital level insurance because
here prescriptions are cheaper. Like, if my mother could get her prescription in Canada, it would be so much cheaper. But now her and dad are on a new system with the VA, and they're covering my mom's drugs now too. So they're only paying anywhere between $4 or $6. Dads are free, but moms are only like $4 or $6.
That's the way Wendy and I were. Either you have, when you're dealing with the socialized medical system, because I deal with the VA, which is socialized medicine, it's government healthcare. And you run the chance of running into the doctor, of getting a doctor, because it's all on a draw basis. I have a primary care. Chances are she's going to retire, but or leave. But you can draw the doctor that says, you know what, I get paid the same either way. And so they're pathetic, basically. But then when you get into the capitalist regime, then you can get the doctor. You have a chance of getting the doctor that says, okay, the more you're here, the more you're in the hospital, the more you have to come back to see me, the more money I make. So our hospitals in the United States, other than the VA, are filled with either sick people or people that literally benefit and get paid for you to be sick.
I remember when
Crazy.
the youngest of our kids, she had to get stitches and we didn't have health insurance. Just to go to the hospital and get 2 stitches was like over $500. So there is that aspect. So I don't like the fact that if you don't have insurance, you are losing your house if you have one. I don't like that aspect of it.
No.
But at
I
the
don't
same
either.
time, so I wish we could pick and pull and come up with a better system.
Semi-private would probably be the best.
Yeah. Well, you
Yeah.
look at Joe from Garden
really.
State Gardener. Whenever his young lad had his first cancer surgery on his diaphragm, the end bill, I believe Joe said, was $7 million.
Yep.
And
Like that's
Thank-
probably going to take like 5 lifetimes to pay off.
right. And
Well,
what's crazy is
he would have lost everything they owned. They would be homeless.
Yeah.
But if you
But
call,
thank God he had insurance.
and if you call and say I want an itemized bill, all of a sudden I hear like you have to know all the tips and tricks, which is wrong. That's wrong. Why should I tell you to send me an itemized bill and make sure that it's all correct, but all of a sudden it's cheaper?
Yeah.
And why it costs, like my daughter, the youngest again, she just had a baby in August. Her husband her fiance works for the hospital in IT, and they told me the bill, and I was like, "What, dude? Come back to Canada. We'll get you can have mat leave for a year." Like, and that's another thing that shocked me.
6 weeks. 6 weeks mat leave in the States.
Maximum.
I can't imagine leaving my infant in a daycare at 6 weeks old.
No. So again, like it's there should be no one should be left without in today's day and age. No one should have to lose their house because they have an illness or an accident.
No one should have to choose between living or dying because they can't.
Right.
Yeah.
There's people in this community right now. I know personally of 2 who cannot afford to heal themselves, and they are dying.
Yeah.
That's sad.
I have a
Because
friend.
they don't have $1 million for the operation.
I have a friend that he wants free health care for everyone. And I understand where he's coming from. His father, the insurance company, refused to do a surgery or to allow a surgery on him that would have kept him alive for several more years. I think that if, like in the United States with our system, if they want to fix it, remove the restrictions on insurance companies.
Yes.
My understanding is the insurance companies, you get 3 or 4 of them that can work in New York. You get and Pennsylvania. Then you get 4 or 5 of them that can work in Maryland. And get rid of the borders for them, because competition lowers prices.
Yep.
And make that would draw the prices down and raise the benefits up. Why? Because they don't have a sure shot at, okay, well, there are only 3 different insurance carriers in the state, so we can all get together in our boardroom and say, okay, we're setting our price here, we're setting our price here, we're setting our price here, and get rid of that, bring in the actual competition and make it affordable. It's as simple as that.
Well, there's also the sorry, Lynn.
My aunt and uncle pay $2,800 American a month for their insurance.
Are they real sick?
Nope.
That's
what they pay. I said, good Lord.
There's also the option, like we have when I used to work, it was taken off my pay. So we work, the company I used to work for, there was Canadian offices, there were American offices, and there were Sweden offices. And each, obviously, like, we can't have a company for all three. So all the employees of Canada are under one branch.
Yeah.
All the employees under the United States are under another branch. And the Sweden company, same thing. And they remove a certain amount per paycheck, and it's not that much. And we have access to eyes, dentist, massage. When you have you need stuff to put in your shoes. I don't know how you say that in English. You know, it's like,
Orthopedic.
yeah.
Orthopedics.
Yeah. So for the shoes, like, there's certain amounts. Okay, they're not huge, but let's just say that you need a root canal and it's $2,000, and they pay $1,000. You know,
Well,
it's better than a kick in the
that's what
butt.
we're going.
Or
Yeah.
I went in to the dentist recently. Well, I called the VA and I said I need to see a dentist, and they're like, "Well, we're not sure if you qualify." I said, "I qualify." And they said, "Well, we have to send it up the chain." And I said, "Okay, send it up the chain. Let me know." They called me back and say, "Yes, you do qualify, Mr. Hand. Call if you don't hear from us in 3 weeks. Call us and we'll make you an appointment." Now, that appointment made in 3 weeks will probably be several months out. So I ended up going to the dentist, a local dentist, paying out of my own pocket $400 to get my teeth fixed, and then, now granted, because of the specific problem I had, I'll still go through the VA and get
A refund.
what they're offering. Well, no, it won't be a refund, but
Yeah.
it'll be a Christmas bonus.
refund? Is
I
there
think
such
it
a thing?
depends- Yeah, and I think it depends on what state you're in with the VA, because some state, like my dad's in Florida, and he's been getting amazing care. He had his heart attack 2019, and he had to have a 5 bypass. My
Holy.
mother got upset though, because part of the problem is because he was with the VA, they like wouldn't let him leave. Like they kept him. Like my mother said, I think they seriously are keeping him longer because they're getting paid.
Yeah.
And Dad loved it because he said he never ate so well as he did at that hospital. He said he couldn't believe they brought him like steak one night. He was shocked.
Nice.
But like Mom said, it just seemed like and then when they sent him home, they're like, okay, so you're going to have this therapist and this therapist and this therapist. Like Mom said, they were like appointments like 4 days a week out of the 7.
Yeah.
And her and Dad couldn't take it. And she watched one of them. She said, oh, you have a pool. And Dad goes, yeah. She goes, okay. So she took Dad out to the pool, had him do like these little arm exercises, and she left. And she said, I'll be back 3 times a week for that. And Mom said, no, you won't. She said, we can do that. Like, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
So they got the final bill because even though Dad doesn't pay, they still sent him the bill.
Yeah.
The surgeon alone's bill was over $1.5 million.
Yeah.
And my father was in the hospital for 3 weeks. The surgeon did the surgery and did 2 follow-ups with him. And that's what he got paid. The hospital bill. Mom said the hospital bill for that 3-week stay
And imagine
was over $2 million. Mom
the
said
doctor,
she dropped it. Like she dropped the bill. It scared her.
the doctor sees more than one patient at a time too. Like imagine.
Yeah.
So
Like
why
I get
would
that
they
they're
want to
saving
stay in
lives
Canada?
and all that stuff, but that's
Why
crazy.
would they want to stay in Canada? Because like thank God, my doctor, Dr. Levesque, my oncologist, because he's actually one of the best oncologists in Canada. He's actually like, if you look him up, you'll see all this stuff. How I lucked out, well, I know how I lucked out. God was watching over me. That's how for him to be in this smaller community, he is maxed out at what he can earn a year, regardless of what kind of doctor he is. And when I was sick at the first time at 10 years, it was $475,000 a year, which is a lot of money. But if he was in the States, he would be a multimillionaire.
Yeah. I was going to say it's not hospital, but it's the drug plan. I don't know. I don't know much about it. I heard about this, what I'm going to say, and then I talked with a couple of Mike's family members and they heard about it. So I'm going to mention it just because somebody might be listening and they could use it, but always do your own research. This is not me telling you what to do. So one of the guys from the Shark Tank, Mark Cuban, or Cuban, I don't know how to pronounce it. He's created a website called costplusdrugs.com. And he has taken out the middleman. And so for a drug that cost $2,500, you're getting charged $14.40. And so you can see, like I pulled up his website, and you can see all the medications that you can look for yours to see how much you can save. But if there's anybody out there that here, let me see. So yeah, so for example, I don't know how to pronounce any of these.
Look up just a blood pressure medicine. Can you type that in, Angie?
Do you have a name?
Eliquis.
Hold on.
Spell it for me.
ELI
ELI
QUIST. That's more of a blood thinner, I think.
IST. Yeah. No, that changed it for me. Let me just put in blood pressure.
Metoprolol.
I have one right here.
How do you spell it?
LOL.
Okay. Oh Lord, do we have to spell all of it? AMLODIPINE.
Amlodipine, yeah.
Yep.
And then there's a second word with it, but I don't think you need it.
So what strength?
5 milligrams.
5?
Yep.
For 30 count, $3.60.
That's cost.
So we have insurance because we pay for it through the military. We have, I will say it changed when David retired, which we did not know. And most people in the military don't know this. So we're like real for telling everybody. But we still get coverage. I get, how many days was this? It was more than 30.
Nice.
It was 2 months, I think, or 3 months. This was 3 months. And with our insurance, I paid $4 and something.
Wow. So if you were to pay out of pocket for that one,
it was 36. I think it was 30. It's 36 if you don't have insurance for it. And that's 3 months though. So, I mean, even without insurance.
Yeah.
That's reasonable. Now that's just a simple drug though.
We had it.
90 count would be $4.80. And you would pay $155 regular. And for a 90 count through this website, it's $4.80.
Wow.
We had it made a while back.
I'll send it to you, Lynn.
Yeah.
We had it made a while back because a certain administration official insisted that we got preferred country status on pharmaceuticals. It's like insulin went down to
like $25 or something.
Yeah, some people were paying $6 for their monthly supply.
Yep.
Now, as soon as another person, it went up to over 600.
Wow.
Because they got rid of that. Why would anybody saying, "Hey, I'm for this country"? Why would anybody in their right mind get rid of that?
It's because he vetoed everything without looking. Because I don't want to get into too much. I'm not a huge fan of the other guy. I wasn't. I'm not a huge fan of the guy who's currently. I'm not. Yeah. But he did do some good. He did do some good. Absolutely. And one of them was the medicines. Yeah. And there was a young man 2 weeks after this last election when the new guy took over, and he vetoed everything, regardless of what it was. He didn't even look. I saw him on the news. He wasn't even looking.
Yeah.
This college kid went in to get his insulin. I'll never forget it. I'm getting him because I had tears watching him. He came out and he was in his car and he did a TikTok or something and he was sobbing. He said, "I just went to get my insulin." He said, "It's $2,000.
Yeah.
He said 6 weeks ago, I paid like $25. He said, "I have to choose between getting my insulin or eating and paying rent this week."
Yeah.
He says, "What am I going to do?" He goes, "I guess I just die." And my heart went out to him. And he said, they had no notice this was going to happen either. Like he said, 6 weeks ago I got it and I was fine. And then I think that
Yep.
was what was the worst part, is that they had no notice they were going to do it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'll never forget him. He said, and he was like sobbing. He said, "I guess I just die. I guess I just die." And I was just like,
Yeah.
my heart was breaking for him, because and I think how many other people probably had that same thing happen then today when they went to get their insulin.
Yeah.
So
Sad.
it
You
is.
look at Brutal Bob. He's a good supporter of mine. He's going through cancer. His experimental cancer drug right now in Michigan is $12,000 a month. It's $1,000 in Canada.
That's crazy.
Explain that to me.
You can't.
Like, I can drive to his place in under 10 hours.
Yeah.
But anyways, I got to head out, guys. I got to go try to get Molly her meds so she can go to sleep.
Okay.
Have a good
Happy
night.
New Year.
Happy
And
New Year.
Happy New Year.
yeah, if you're looking
Have a
for
good
something to do tomorrow night, Jesse and Lisa, Lazy Days Ahead. We're having giveaways and a night that just have fun.
Nice.
Awesome.
I'll
share
try and
the
drop
link.
in for a bit.
Take care, guys.
Have a good one, Scott.
I mean, Remy, I've been thinking a lot about that story you shared about those twins. Like, that's been on my mind a lot, about what happened with them, those 9-month-old twins. Gosh.
Who shared it?
Remy talked about it.
Yeah, it was on the news here in the province. There was a mom that went to ER. She had a 9 months old. Well, she had twins, but one of them was really sick. And I don't know the whole details. There's a bunch of different stories coming from everywhere. But I guess she went to the emergency and they told her that the wait time was 24 hours. Apparently, she went to a clinic and they told her the baby was like, he had a virus and he was going to fight it off. She got home and the baby passed away during the night. And she had to go to the emergency with a second baby. And the second baby had to be hospitalized for a few days.
No.
I can't imagine the pain.
Can't.
No.
And I can't imagine that the twin who's left the rest of their life growing up,
Yeah.
like, they lost their twin. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
There's a bond between twins that's unexplainable.
Yeah.
it's just heartbreaking. And it shouldn't be happening.
No.
So I mean,
No.
it's not exactly like that story, but about a month ago, maybe 6 weeks ago. No, it was more closer to a month. Anyways, Tyler, my grandson, I got a call from my son, and he was, "Mom, I think I have to bring Tyler to the hospital. He's got a fever of 106."
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, "Yes, you need to go."
Yeah.
So
Yes.
he gets to the hospital. And they're like, "Yeah, there's a virus going around. Give him Tylenol and Advil." We were in a shortage. So
we still are.
yeah. And even with Advil, his fever was 104.4 or 4.3.
Okay, a fever 104 before all of this craziness, cuckoo-ness, and C
That's
and
what
flu.
was like.
You would
there's no
have
way
a
to go.
ice bath
Yeah.
to bring
Yeah.
your temperature
Alcohol,
down.
baths, all that. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's, I remember when my oldest was about a year old, maybe a little bit less. She had a fever of like 104.3. So I brought her to the hospital because there was no other symptoms. We didn't know what was wrong. And they were like, "Oh, we got to get her admitted. We got to do this. We got to run tests." And here he is on Advil or ibuprofen, still at 104.3 or 4.
Oh, poor
And it took
baby.
24 hours, but he had between 104 to 106 fever for that full 24 hours.
And
He's
how
lucky
old is
he
Tyler?
He's 5.5.
So at that age, that kind of fever, he could be having seizures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
Definitely.
why, like, maybe,
Shit.
unfortunately, the twins that you were talking about, because to the nurses and doctors at the hospital, it was, "Oh, it's another one of these kids," kind of thing. And
Yeah.
so maybe that's what but a baby,
I know, but an infant
None of that.
usually is like got top priority because of
yes.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is such a thing as triage. It's not
Yeah.
there's a 24-hour wait. It's, "Oh my gosh, you have a fence post sticking out of your chest. We're going to take you right now. You don't have to wait."
They don't know
Yeah.
where to put you.
And I will
They
say
have
this:
no idea. Like in
pandemic,
Quebec, they have
Yeah.
no idea where to put you. So if you
Yeah.
come in and they
There's
tell
no
you they
bed.
have like you'll be standing up. And because of the virus, I don't know if you guys have that, but some of the viruses has mutated.
Yep.
And like the virus we caught was the mix of the flu and VP something. I can't remember what it was. And we had over 100 of
RSV?
it's
Was it
V
RSV?
something like that. Anyways, it's a
Yeah.
respiratory thing
Yeah.
similar
Yeah.
to the flu, but like we had it so strong. It like I had a son, my son Philip was like just before seizures. Like he was like he was
Yes.
delirious.
Mhm.
Oh,
And just to speak to like my pediatrician, just to get an appointment, there was no way I was going to wait 24 hours in the hospital.
Right.
Regardless, they were going to probably throw me out thinking I was like, we were highly contagious and blah, blah, blah. And like, they probably just sent us home. Just to speak to my pediatrician, I had to wait. I called for 3 days in a row. I started calling at 9 o'clock in the morning because there's no reason to call at 8 because everyone calls at 8. I called from 9 o'clock in the morning till 3 o'clock at night. It took me 3 days. 3 days. And every single time someone would pick up and hang up, pick up, hang up, pick up, hang up.
oh.
And when I was able to talk to the stupid lady, I was so
Yeah.
I was like dynamite. And she's like, well, we can't help you. I'm like, well, what do you mean you can't help me? It's like, take Advil. The virus that's going on, the fever's high. It's going to last between 3 days and 5 days. This is the symptoms you have to check. If any of these symptoms escalate, then go to
ER.
the ER. If other symptoms appear, like I think it was like throwing up or like dizziness, seizures and stuff like that, they told me to go to the ER. But I'm like, you're telling me the ER is 24 hours.
Yeah.
So if he does a seizure at home,
Yeah, he has time.
And the ambulance, I mean, even calling an ambulance, they're saying ambulances aren't showing up because.
well, I live in the boons, like I live in China.
Yeah. It's just, it must be, Dave and I talked about this. It's got to be so scary to have little ones right now, to
Yeah.
not be able to walk into your Walmart or Shoppers Drug Mart and get something as simple as Tylenol or children's Advil.
There's one thing that the pharmacies don't say, and this is ridiculous because we went to our local pharmacy and we said, we need some Advil. And they say, oh, it's behind the counter now. So you go to your pharmacist and you say, my kid is this year old, weighs this much, female, male.
Yeah.
And they open a file and they sell you a bottle. And this is where I go like, not of Advil, Tylenol. So I'm like, why Tylenol? It's only 4 hours.
Yeah.
Advil is 8 hours, like 6 to 8. The other one is like 2 to 6, depending.
My understanding is Tylenol is what we always give for fevers to bring fevers down.
My kids react better with Advil.
Mine always did too. Yeah, mine
I
did too.
did too.
Tylenol did nothing.
So
Well,
during
that's
the
what they told them is to alternate just for the next 24 hours. Alternate 2 hours, do Tylenol, and then 2 hours.
I do during the day 1 shot of Tylenol so that they could be, and I give them like not the full dose so that they can fight the virus.
Yeah.
And then for them to sleep, I give them Advil at night just before they go to bed, so that they can have like a full 6 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
I can have a full 6 hours sleep.
I'm like you, Annie. Like, we don't always go right to the medicine when we start having a fever because it's your body's way. But that's a scary high fever. That's when you're like, no, we're giving you something.
But there are safe remedies if you can get some willow bark.
Yeah,
that's actually what aspirin's made from.
Yeah. It's like with Mom. She called her doctor. She told the doctor what she had, and the doctor said, "Okay, I'm gonna give you this because I don't want you to get pneumonia." Well, she took that pill, and she's allergic to just about everything. And a lot of times, she's allergic to the fillers that they make the capsule of.
Yep.
And so she called him back, and she says, "Well, my lips are tingling," and he says, "Okay, we'll just stop taking it." And he says, we're just going to let it play out. Well, I just took her to the ER today, and now not only does she have pneumonia, she's got the flu. She probably had the flu to begin with.
Yeah.
And now because of the flu, and she doesn't move around a whole
With the
lot. She's
fluids in her
86 years
lungs.
old. And,
yeah, well,
and
the flu is migrating and fusing with other viruses, like
Yeah.
like it's ridiculous.
Well,
And like 4 or 5 days of fevers for very healthy people.
Yep. It's
Before-
scary.
Before
Now,
all of
Amy,
this, sorry.
But what she's describing for symptoms, that's what we all had here a few weeks back, but we tested positive for the C word. But
well, now
we were
like,
having your symptoms.
we didn't test for COVID because prior to the virus we got, 2 weeks prior, we had COVID.
Oh.
So the possibilities of us having COVID within 2 weeks
Right.
was like 1 out of a million, blah blah blah. It would
Well, the
have to
only
be
we-
a new. It had to be a new.
Barbara Walters just passed away.
Oh God.
oh, wow.
And Kathy Bates died today.
What?
The actress, yes.
Not on my
Now-
birthday.
I know she had
Who?
Kathy Bates. She was the crazy lady in Misery.
Yes,
King movie?
Misery. Yes.
Did you watch Big Bang Theory with Sheldon and Leonard?
Mm-mm.
Okay,
She was
well,
also in that football movie with Sandra Bullock.
Bullock, The Blind Side.
The Blind Side.
Kathy.
Lovely
I love her.
actress, but she
I
had
love
breast
her.
What's
she
her
had
last
breast
name?
cancer twice in the last 10
Bates.
years. So I
BATES.
don't know if that was anything because they haven't said.
Her? She's an amazing actress.
Yeah,
know.
she's had breast cancer twice in the last 10 years. But
Wow.
the only reason we tested for the C word is because Aiden, all of a sudden, he woke up. He's like, Mom, I can't smell or taste anything. I'm like,
Oh, no.
oh.
Yeah.
I said, what do you mean? I said, go over. And I had some homemade apple cider vinegar on the counter because we give it to the chickens water every morning. And we all know how strong that is. I said, go for it. He breathed that in like it was chocolate. And he was like, what is I smell? I'm like, are you serious? He took the lid off and I could smell it. And he has his face right in the
Wow.
jar. And he's breathing it in. Nothing. I said, maybe we better get out some of those tests that I've been stockpiling.
Yeah.
Oh, my mom said that she said, I think I should get a COVID test. So I said, okay. So I went to Walgreens website. You got to set it up on the website. And I scheduled her for a C test and a flu test. And we get there and the lady's like, okay, you have Medicaid, Medicare. She says it's going to pay for the C test. They did. I think they just like watching her twirl it around in her nose, and my mom, it drives her nuts. But then the lady's like, well, but your insurance is not going to cover the flu test. And I said, well, how much can a test be? $130 they wanted. I said, we'll pass.
No, I
Guess
know.
what? She has the flu.
She has the flu. Mom said in Florida, they're charging, I think she said it's $125 now for the C test kits. And we're still getting them. Walmart here's begging people to take them here.
Wait. They send me 3 boxes every month with my kids from school. I
Yeah.
have
They can't get
That's
rid
where
of them.
they all are.
I have 15 boxes unopened.
You took all the gloves, Tracy.
But
All
there's
the masks. You took them all, so we get all the tests.
oh,
I mean,
but
my
I
friend,
only wore a mask when I absolutely had to.
yeah, my friend in Iowa, Tanya, like her kids were really, really sick before Christmas here, like really sick. And it was type A flu. It wasn't the C, but it was. But I was thinking, I don't know if it's legal, but I was going to send her some tests because, like she said, she goes to pay for them here in Iowa. They're like $150, and 4 out of her 6 kids were sick. $150 each. I'm like, good grief.
So I was gonna say a story. It's about this, but not about this. So when my middle grandson, Mr. Parker, you guys saw, a couple of you saw him on live last night. When he was first born, so he was born January of 2020, everything was very new. So when he was 3 weeks old, he got sick. So he gets admitted to the hospital because at that age, you can't do much. And he's had fever and everything else. So he's in hospital for about, I don't know, 5 days at this point. I'm visiting with him. Mom's visiting with him. Nurse comes in and says, okay, can you guys sit down? And we're like, we're scared because we have to wear full gear, everything, right? To go into the room. And so she's like, so we run some tests on him, and he tested positive for, before it was COVID, it was Corona, right?
Corona, yeah.
So we tested him, and he tested positive for Corona. But don't worry, not the kind that's killing people. I could have smacked her.
Right?
Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
Her mom was in tears, like thinking that, because all we knew at that time was what had happened abroad. I don't even know if we knew anything here. And yeah,
it was scary because we thought, oh my gosh, we're all gonna die.
Right. And so,
not to laugh, but I mean, that's you know, like we were.
Well, in January there was no cases here. It started.
March.
March.
Yes, because March break, they canceled March. They got out of school early, and it was supposed to be just flatten the curve.
Yeah, 2 weeks to flatten the curve.
Yeah.
2 weeks to
I
flatten
never want to hear that again.
They should have said 2 years to flatten the curve, and
our lives as we know it are over.
We had a congresswoman get a briefing, and she is a conservative congresswoman. I actually like the way she votes on things, but she literally got a national security briefing, and she left the briefing and called her what do you call it? The person who buys stocks and stuff for you, called them, or a broker, and bought stock in what is it that they use? No, it's the video that we use for schools. Zoom. Yeah, bought a bunch of stock in Zoom, and it's not against the law for her.
It should be.
If I had insider knowledge,
yeah,
and did that, I would go to prison.
Our prime minister in 2019 was worth $10 million. As of August of this year, he's
guess
worth
how much
$383 million.
Alive or dead?
Sorry.
I shouldn't have said that.
I didn't hear what you said.
RCMP is going to be busting down your door, Annie.
It was a joke.
I'm laughing like
you said that he's worth so much amount, and I said a lot or dead.
Yeah. But it's just interesting that he 300 times his. So
too bad I can't do that with my life insurance.
Yeah, and it just
if you go to Google, I won't show it. If you go, just encourage people to go to Google and see the worth today. It's still the same, according to Google. It's still the same as what it was for the last few years.
What, his net worth?
Yeah, it's still saying 10.
What I saw was
right, because Google's not biased at all.
No.
I saw it on. I mean, it might not be a true. I don't know how, but I had several different friends share the story on their Facebook page a few weeks ago, and somebody said something's not regardless of who you are. I don't care if you're liberal. I don't care if you're PC. It doesn't smell right.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You have to dig for that.
Yeah.
But when anybody just goes and looks, it still says the same.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, it's all constitutional and stuff. Guess what? Our founding fathers, the ones who signed the Constitution, died. A lot of them died in poverty. Yep. They had lost their estates and everything. If they had been caught during the Revolution, they would have been executed as traitors to the crown.
You
Our
shouldn't be
founding-
allowed to vote on things that are going to help you financially. That I don't know why that's such a big deal to say that. It just makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, how can you be impartial when you know, geez, if I vote this way, I'm going to earn hundreds of millions of dollars? Like,
My brother-in-law runs that company that's going to be doing that bridge there, so I'm gonna we'll throw a couple $100 million in there. Yeah.
I just
I'll be right back.
It drives
I
me
love
crazy.
politics.
That's what drives me crazy. That's what
This
drives me
isn't
crazy.
politics. This is finances.
Yeah.
Well, there's politics in everything. There's politics in
Ugh.
finances. There's politics in hospitals. There's politics at home. There's
There's politics in farming.
There's politics in YouTube. Think of all the things that we do not say or try to keep from saying or talk around. That's all politics.
Mhm.
Yep.
There's the reason why. Well, like I share some of my feelings around politics, but there's a reason why I never go down that rabbit hole, because not because I don't trust the person in front of me. It's just my time is so precious,
Yeah.
and my beliefs is my beliefs. There's nothing you will say or you will do that my beliefs will change. Obviously, if you have a gun to my face, that's another story. But like, I rather like just listen to you guys, and because if you bitch too much, sorry, second time I say this in 2 nights. If I
You're going to hell for that one, girl.
Yes,
Yes, you
I'm
are.
so sorry. If you whine too much, you kind of lose that precious time that you could be praying. You could be saying to someone, "I love you."
No, yeah,
you could be
I agree,
saying,
Annie. I mean, I don't bring it up on my channel either. And I know a lot of the homesteading channels are starting to go that way. Like, we
Well,
tune
I
in and
choose-
it's like, really, I don't want the drama on my page. I don't talk about it on my social media either, because
it's a little bit more than drama, though, because it can actually be detrimental for your person. Like, you can have people like literally coming and like say you're this, say you're that, you're an idiot, or blah, and then at one point it's gonna hit you mentally. And like, we're doing what we're doing to inspire people. We're not doing what we're doing to be like a police to the comments. And
because no matter what you believe, there's someone out there that doesn't believe the same thing as you.
No.
And there's always someone that's gonna
piss on your parade
at you. And
I don't have a problem.
I
if you
try
don't
not
agree
to
with
go
me.
that way as well.
We can still be friends. It doesn't bother me. And all you
absolutely.
do is we just don't talk about that stuff. If it's gonna come to the point where you'll lose a friend about it, then you just don't talk about it with each other.
Yeah.
No.
And
Well,
look at
there's a
that
saying
live.
that actor, what's his name? Not Samuel L. Jackson, the other one.
Morgan Freeman.
Lawrence Fishburne.
No, the one you just said.
Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, he says when people will start to have to learn to disagree with each other. And when you disagree with each other, like, you have to reach a point of respect. I can have a conversation with Tracy or Yulin or Remy, and we can exchange and learn from our exchange, but then know the boundaries and know, like, exchange with respect. Like, I'm not here to tell you, you do this, you do that, you have to do this. No, it's not how it works. We have to learn to disagree.
Look at the conversation that Darren and I had the other night on that Christmas Eve live. We were talking, we got deep into religion, and he let me voice
I'll be back.
Christianity, and he voiced his Viking roots and heritage, the stuff, but there's that respect. I can't force him to become a Christian. That's not my job. My job is to put the information out there as best I can. And not to mention, I learned a lot about him, and he learned a lot about me there. And one of the biggest things that I learned was I can talk to Darren. Man, that man, well, he was a little tipsy towards the end, but
Darren?
No way.
But
What?
I
have
really
to go.
enjoyed that conversation.
All right, take care.
Bye,
Annie.
Annie.
Bye,
Bye.
Annie.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yes,
Yep,
Happy
Happy New Year.
Wait,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna throw you out there for anybody that doesn't know. go watch Annie's videos. She is so close to monetization. Her link will be somewhere.
Thank
I will
you.
post
Or
it.
Google back, or not Google, go into YouTube and put Back to Basics Homestead and she'll pop right up. Let's help her get that goal. Whoop.
I'm the one with the tomato in my hands.
And yes, while I was at the hospital, before I left to take my mom to the emergency room, I took the time to put your playlist on here.
Yeah.
And then I went to the hospital and I watched the live you had earlier. And I had nurses say, "Oh, who's that? What's that?" And I said, "That's Back to Basics Homestead. You need to watch her." And
you.
but then I came home, and it was so funny, Annie. You were it was frozen, and the little thing was going around. Right, you were like, and that little thing was going around. It was hilarious.
It's always like that.
I know. I forget to put the playlist on when I'm going out for a bit. I have to remember to do that so it can run.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's so close. So
I'm missing 415 hours.
Yeah, go give her some watch time, people.
when does yours reset? So like I know
March.
No, I mean like mine used to reset like every day at 5 o'clock. So if I checked in the morning, it
8 in the morning.
It does.
Yeah.
You would make. We'll take
Oh,
you.
thank you. Well, I think it was.
I already told him he was
I
an honorary Canadian.
honorary Canadian.
And it's funny we're talking about that, Tracy. I
Bye,
feel the
guys.
same way with I feel the same way with pretty much everyone in the group. We've had a chat. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Donald Trump, but we had a talk about him, and you made me see things that I did not see, and we talked about a bunch of things, and it was done in respect. And I mean, I like you. I love you for it now, because even though we don't share all the same point of views on everything, it was done in respect, and I know you better now as a person, and I understand where you come from.
Yeah.
Same thing with Angie. I had a few talks with Angie and with Lynn, and I mean Darren as well. Like, we don't always see the same point of views on everything, but
Yeah. And I like what I say is no matter what anybody chooses on anything in life, I always try to see the shoes on the other foot, because okay, Mike and I are here, and if I'm having a tough day, he can help me go to sleep at night, or I can do the same for myself or for him or whatever. But if somebody, like if me and Tracy didn't agree on something or whoever, I'm not there to help him fall asleep at night to make, you know what I mean? Like it's his journey. And going back to what you were saying about a conversation with him about the other guy, the Trump guy, I hated him. And then I sat and I talked with my father-in-law. The stuff that he was telling me, like I couldn't believe it. And I didn't see it, because all we see is the negative, the negative, the negative.
There are two sides to the man. There is what he was doing, and then there was what he was saying and how he was. If they could get him to shut his mouth.
My father said the same thing. If they could keep him off Twitter, he would have got reelected.
Yeah.
Well, after talking with my father-in-law, I realized through that conversation, when at first it wasn't heated, because I love my father-in-law to death. So it wasn't heated, but it was but what about this? But what about, and I realized through the conversation I had with him, and it was a big eye opener, I was bringing my feelings and he was bringing me, well, this is what he's done for Flint, Michigan. This is what he's done for businesses. This is what he's done for this.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, and I had nothing to say, because all I would bring to him were my feelings. And I think that's a big reason why people can't communicate like they used to. Certain people can, but it's always, well, I'm right. No, this is the way I think. But that's what being part of a free country is all about.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And I'm not there to
Yeah, and I'm not there. Yeah, you're not hurting somebody. As long as you're not hurting somebody or hurting yourself, right? Then, I have no issues with what you believe. I don't.
Yeah.
No,
I don't have to
me
agree
neither.
with them, but as long as you're not hurting somebody, then I'm not judge, jury, and executioner. That's not
Um,
my.
And
know?
you know what, Remy, I'm gonna reveal this, something I don't reveal often, and it's gonna blow up this live. I usually don't tell people this because just they wouldn't know it. I mean, Trevor, I had to tell him every once in a while. I can be wrong.
I thought you were about to announce that you were born a woman or something like that.
I'm sorry. That was funny. I was laughing. My belly jumps when I laugh.
I thought he was gonna say something like, I don't know. Yeah, I was born a woman, or every so often I howl at the moon naked.
But you know what, Tracy? I disagree with you.
I've never been wrong.
No.
Oh, thank you.
Oh man, you're supposed to fight me on it.
No, I can't fight you on it. You kidding
Andy,
me?
it's funny because I felt the same way about that particular someone, and my father felt the other way.
Right.
And I had a conversation with my dad, and my dad made me see things too. And my dad put it, I hope I'm putting it the right way. He said, Americans need to love their country more than they hate his behavior.
Yeah.
And he said, and I don't like, he did, there were some good things he did. Not everything he did was bad.
Yes.
And to just veto everything because you cannot stand him. What is that teaching people?
Well, as Mike says too, he's like, because when you ask him, I mean, he has feelings towards one party over the other for sure, but he's like, man, really, if I had to, which he can vote technically, he just hasn't in the States recently, but he's
I
like,
could have too. Yeah.
If I could vote, really, is this the best two we got?
I know.
Yeah.
That's what I keep saying.
Well, that's what it's come down to in the state is voting for the best of the worst.
In Canada too.
I'm kind of hoping that he doesn't get the nomination. I would like to see DeSantis from Florida.
Oh, my parents, yeah.
Or Ted Cruz.
My parents don't want.
I am a conservative.
Yeah. My parents don't want DeSantis because Mom said there's a lot that needs to be done in Florida since the hurricane. We can't lose him.
That's the problem. Our sheriff from Lewis County, I consider him a friend. I've talked to him a couple times. He probably doesn't know me from Adam, but he was running for governor. He was a couple hundred names short on the petition to get him put on the ballot. So he didn't run, but that was the only downside was we would lose a really good sheriff.
Yeah. I don't think he should, because I think if they want to beat who's there now, they're not going to if he runs again. I don't think they will. I just don't. I don't think so. I think they need.
I don't understand why they can't find, like, there's 350 million people in the States.
This is what we can come up
That's
with.
the best you can come up with. Like, seriously?
I could go throw a rock, for God's sake. And now you've got that representative. I can't remember from what state. He's in trouble now because he lied on all his resumes and his college, all the colleges he supposedly went to, and like, you really like. And he's supposed to be sworn in on Tuesday, and I'm like
that
really?
Yeah, sure.
That go to Congress, throw a rock in Congress, and you're gonna hit somebody just like that.
The other problem too is they can stay Congress people for way too long.
Yes, and Congress voted on the term limits for the president because too much power for too long can cause corruption. Guess what? We've got people that have been in there 60 years. They're on the stinking National Security Advisory Committee or whatever it is. Oh my goodness. They probably don't even know how to work a smartphone. National
mean,
security.
It's the
you
only,
gotta-
like my dad says, some of them, it's the only job they've ever had.
Yeah.
Your face is
Explains a
turning
lot.
red, Tracy.
I'm sorry.
I'm just kidding. Take a
Who
deep
was
breath.
it? Was it
I do have
Strong, how do you say him? Strong Thurman. Strong. Yeah. Wasn't he
Strong
like 88 and he died or something at the House of
Yes,
Representatives?
and yes, he was also the mentor of our current president. He was also a grand wizard in the KKK.
I know. And he kept getting reelected.
But the orange guy is a white supremacist. Anyway,
But no,
Happy New Year.
yeah.
we're all gonna die.
Well, it's been fun, but it's been over 2 hours, and
I see that. I can't believe we've been on that long.
it was fun. I could stay up for longer, but it's just that I have my girlfriend to go take care of, and
Are
Yeah.
you gonna put up a ponytail? Good answer.
My better half is passed out in the lazy boy with the puppy snoring. I'm surprised you can't hear him.
Wow.
Right
well, you
behind
have
Well,
the bed for
acceptable.
yourself. You have the whole
That
bed for
is
yourself.
acceptable. If you don't wake him up, he won't say, "Stop it! Get off me!"
you. If I don't wake him up, I can go to bed and sleep and not
have
hear
all the
the
bed to
snoring
yourself.
all
I
night.
can
Oh, that's
spend
right.
myself for like 3 nights. I'm excited.
Oh,
Awesome.
We're
But she has
sharing
the guns
double while
loaded.
we're in the trailer, so it's like, and Mike likes to like. Okay, so a double. Say this is a double. In a queen, we're great. In a double, if Mike, hopefully he just let me know he got to his dad, so hopefully he's not watching. He likes to be here,
yep.
and I'm like, move, get out the way, go
I
over
need to
here.
breathe.
Oh
and
no,
I'm breathing.
he's typing me. I'm wondering if he's gonna say, "I heard that." He didn't.
That would have been great if he had.
All right. Happy New Year, everyone. And
Yes.
see you again in 2023. And
Yes. Woohoo.
Well,
See, I can't wait to see you all in May. Like,
Oh, I can't
seriously.
wait.
We're hoping to
that'll be amazing.
we're thinking this time, Dave and I are thinking about going up the day or two before and maybe getting a room so we can, because I feel like we missed out on a lot. Annie and
Yeah,
I
it
were
was-
saying
it
how
was
we
so much
missed out
fun.
on a lot of stuff
Yeah.
because
I'm
we
thinking
only
about
came
going
up and went
lasagna.
back. So
Yes, and you know what? I'll just put this out there now. I know you want to go. Maybe we should. Okay, so we'll have the day, but maybe we can plan like the day before, the day after, whatever. We can all have like a party here, and then that way it'll get a fire under my tushy and under Mike's, and it'll make me like get stuff done. And then we'll have a place for people to sleep, and if it's not, a comfy bed, maybe at least it'll be like a closed-in house, so we can throw sleeping bags and air beds and whatever down.
Awesome.
yeah.
Anyway, so we can throw in.
No, I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking how if we could all get together the day before.
Yeah,
and-
I can
yeah.
host something. We're about an hour from there, so an hour. Yeah, we're an hour.
How long was it for us? We're over 2 hour drive. So an hour from there, that's nothing.
Yeah. So maybe I'm gonna put it out there now. We can do a big shindig here. Last time I did it, we got a lot done in a small amount of time. So
You had me at lasagna.
thank you so much for having us, Remy.
Yes,
Yes,
thanks,
thanks,
Rem.
Rem.
I don't know if we talked about anything you wanted to, but
Probably not.
Oh, it's the best thing. Just talk
he's-
about anything, and
sometimes these are the
About
best
to end the
lives.
night with a bang, so he's all good.
I didn't say anything.
You didn't have to. All right. Good night.
Good
Tell
night,
your
everyone.
fiance
Happy
we
New
said
Year.
hi, Remy.
All right.
Uh-huh.
Take care, guys.
Okay. Bye bye.